Hello, my name is Evan Gilsey from Cranston. I have a question in regards to jobs. Currently, I'm a student. I go to Catholic University in DC, and it's kind of alarming when you look around, especially in the state of Rhode Island, as it comes to unemployment, where I'm going to be graduating in a few years, and obviously I want to have a job when I graduate, and the state of Rhode Island kind of forces people out of the state of Rhode Island. You, in the opening, you said, how do we fix unemployment rate in Rhode Island, and you kind of said, we need to make our workers more skilled. I personally believe Rhode Island has extremely skilled workers, and our government kind of has this idea that everybody needs to go to college. That's not true. We need tradesmen, we need blue-collar workers, and we need people to join armed services. We don't have a society where people need a college degree. If you look at the state of Rhode Island, why do we have such a high unemployment rate? It's our tax code. We have a 9% corporate tax rate. That is unacceptable. We look at the top 5 business states in America: South Dakota, Texas, North Dakota, Nebraska, and Utah. The 4 out of 5 of those have a 0% corporate tax rate. 0. We have 9%. Look at Massachusetts. They have a 6% corporate tax rate. How can we compete with a state that is right next to us? How are we going to bring in business owners, entrepreneurs, the people who create jobs? Government does not create jobs. People create jobs. And people seem to forget that in this country. We cannot rely on our elected officials to make government jobs. That's not how our economy works. So my question to you is, don't you think we should put more of an emphasis on lowering tax rates, making Rhode Island specifically, because that's why we're all here for, is Rhode Island, a more business-friendly state, and we need to put people back to work. How do you do that, not focusing on higher education?
Well, thank you for what you said, and much of what you said I agree with. Starting with the fact that you're right, it is not government that creates jobs primarily. We can help create the environment that is, I think, more conducive to job creation. But it's the private sector that primarily creates jobs, and we want to make sure that, again, we have an environment that incentivizes job creation. The other thing that I agree with is this issue: not everyone is going to or need to go to a 4-year college or university or advanced education to have a good paying job. that there are many opportunities in the career and technical education fields, and as I said in my opening remarks, I co-chair the Career and Technical Education Caucus. And a caucus it's not like a congressional committee that holds hearings and passes legislation, but a caucus is basically a group of like-minded members that come together and say, look, we care about these issues, we believe in them, and I'm involved in a number of them, but again, I co-chair the Career and Technical Education Caucus. And one of the things that we do is look at how we can provide the right amount of support or incentives to encourage people to go into these types of fields. It could be anything from IT to culinary to the hospitality to construction fields. Variety of it's kind of almost an endless list of career and technical education and career opportunities. Much of the funding that we get in Rhode Island, in addition to state resources, federal funding through what's called Perkins Act dollars, and it's over a $10 billion program that is spread around the country to provide career and support for career and technical education programs. So again, a big believer in those things, and I think the more we can do to encourage people to go into these fields, the better. Now, getting back to your issue of the tax code, I would like to see the overall tax rate come down. And again, one of the things that we need to do on the federal level is have a more fair and balanced tax code, making sure that everyone is paying their fair share. But we don't have that right now. In case in point is overseas corporations that do not pay anything in taxes because the way the tax code is written, they don't have to. If they leave money they parked overseas, U.S. corporations, major corporations, can kind of do an run around the tax code. And the burden falls, in a sense, back here, both to the personal rate and the corporate tax rate. So what I would like to see, as we do tax reform, that we have some type of a tax code, a tax rate for overseas corporations, no matter how they make their money overseas, or where they, whether they bring the money back here or they leave overseas. In some way or another, there's going to be some rate that they pay. Whether it's 5 or 10%, we can debate about the number. But by making sure that all corporations, U.S. corporations, are paying something, that will allow us to bring the overall rate down, both for domestic corporations and also the domestic rate, but also the personal income tax rate as well.
Just in like comment to that, but if you look at the other 5 states that are best for business, they have 4% unemployment rate. What is Rhode Island specifically doing, not on a global scale? What does Rhode Island do differently to bring jobs here?
Well, I know our state legislators are wrestling with that and do from year to year. What is the right personal tax rate? What is the right corporate tax rate? Or if it's an LLC or a sole proprietorship, trying to get that rate right is always a challenge. And I do recognize, as I know our legislators do, that we are higher than our New England neighbors, and that's a challenge. We all want the services that we enjoy and the quality of life here, and funding those things costs money. And Rhode Island, of course, is challenged in that we don't have a lot of big businesses that we can depend on, that are the real job creators in our state. We are very small business dependent. And as a result, we are being so small business dependent, we're first into a recession and we're the last out. So we've got to decide where or what business we want to be in, number one, and what can we do to incentivize job creation. We can't be all things to all people. So what I would like to see, and I'm hopeful that we do, is get behind things like the Knowledge District in Providence. I think we have a real opportunity in the biotechnology field to grow jobs and take it in that field. The other thing that I think I see great potential to be a job creator is alternative energy. And I've been a big proponent of the wind farm just off our coast. Rhode Island very well could be on track to be the first state in the country to have a functioning wind farm off our coast. The wind turbines hopefully will be built right in Rhode Island, right in the 2nd Congressional District, right in Caucus. So those are opportunities there, in addition to hopefully working to bring the overall rate down so we're more competitive. The last thing I'll mention, I want to give high marks to the legislature for the reforms that they just passed this year, that they adopted. As you may have heard, RIPAC, Rhode Island Public Expenditure Council, recently came out with a report of recommendations for reforms that the legislature should enact and that Rhode Island should adopt. They're going to help Rhode Island be more business friendly. The legislature, again, hearing, I just had dinner with John Simmons, who's the president of RIPAC, just a couple weeks ago. He said that the legislature adopted 90% of the reforms that they recommended. There's going to be about a year-long study or a blueprint that's going to be enacted, that it's going to help Rhode Island be much more business friendly. So stay tuned, because I think there's some very good things coming as a result of what the General Assembly has enacted this year. And I think it's going to give us a great blueprint and a battle plan going forward as to how we make Rhode Island more business friendly. So thanks to our legislators.
Yes, sir.